Behind the Shades.
So my name is Guy Siverson. I am co-owner of Graceful Touch Massage Therapy for the last 5 years here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Not only do we do massage, but we have product line of over 50 alternative remedy, certified organic, plant-based products that you can find out more about on gracefultouchproducts.org. Or if you want to connect on direct with me, come out to Instagram, where I'm available as Pain Relief, the number 4, the letter U, Pain Relief for you.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about how did you get started in this industry?
Well, that's an interesting question. By being drug in by my the back of my scuff, I would say, massage therapy is absolutely nothing I would ever think to do. 100%. But it's the best thing I've ever done in my entire life.
I know for me, the first time I got a massage, I was a full adult. It must have been 6, 7 years ago. So I was in my late 20s. And some of my friends at the time, they used to make this joke. Make sure you don't go to this one because there's like the sexual ones and there's all these
Right,
different forms, right?
right.
And I remember I was in another part of the world and I called in to book a massage. And it was me and a few other guys. So it was like a guys trip. And they said that there's about, I think, 4 of us. They said that there's 3 girls, but someone has to end up with a guy, right? With a male masseuse. And we're all playing rock, paper, scissors to see who's gonna get the guy at that point, right?
There you
Because
go.
it was like a running joke with us. But one thing I would say is that it is so relaxing. I think I must forget about all of my stress for that day. I'm so relaxed afterwards. Many times I even fall asleep because it's so relaxing. And that takes me to the point where life can be hard sometimes. It can be difficult. And as someone that got into this industry and as someone that has overcome their own obstacles in life, what are some of the things that you went through growing up that's led you down this path?
Well, great question. Thanks for asking. Um, I grew up personally as a single parent child. My dad chose the bottle over his family. My dad also was heavily into things like pornography and whatnot. So when I would go to visit my dad, and I'm the only child of us that would go and visit my dad, um, the pornography was readily available. And I started getting involved in this. And why this is so important, I'll share with you in a minute. But here I am dealing with pornography, and God speaks to me. And he says, "You sure like that picture, don't you?" And I said, "Well, yes, I do." And he asked me, "Well, what if that was your daughter? Would you be okay with that?" And I said, "No, no, I would not be okay with it." Well, he said one thing at that point that took care of pornography for me for the rest of my life. He said, "She's somebody's daughter." And for me, that was like a wow experience. I put it down. I said, "I want nothing more to do with this." Now we fast forward to today. Here I was as a child steeped in pornography. Well, whether you're working with a male massage therapist or a female, the client is typically naked. And instead of capitalizing that for my own self gratification, now I'm actually, I've turned the corner and I'm providing a service where I'm able to help people get out of pain, and realize a better state of well-being than ever before. And I would never in a million years, as I said a minute ago, have ever put myself here, largely because of my background. In fact, where I put myself because of my background was digital marketing for over 25 years. Until one day I got one of those gray cuffs and slid it around my arm and pumped it on up. Well, I owned my own business then too. And the good part about owning your own business is you can set your own hours. The bad part about owning your own business is that you can set your own hours. I ended up working 16 to 20 hours a day for years on end. Well, that great cuff around my arm that I had pumped up, it was reading numbers like, let's see if I can remember, 265 over 125. Yeah, I don't know what you know about numbers, but when it comes to your blood pressure, those aren't good ones. Now, I was a naturopathic vegan at that time. Naturopathic vegans don't need that kind of a number. Shouldn't have them because, well, we eat way different than everybody else. We're supposed to live way different than everybody else too. Unfortunately, at that point in my life, I was very sedentary. After all, get up out of bed, go out to your recliner, pull up the footrest, and you're at work for the rest of the day. Well, our bodies need a little bit more movement than that. And so as we started to ponder different ideas, my wife said, well, people have always told her that she should be a massage therapist. And that's where things began to unfold. But before I unfold them, I'm going to hand it back to you to see if we have any questions.
Absolutely, because that's an interesting take because you had this childhood experience, which is still, it seems like it's very vivid in your mind because you remembered it. And now you've transitioned away from that because of what you do and how you want to continue to help people. And I'm someone that I work from home now for the last year and a half. And you're absolutely right. There's many times where I'll get out of bed. If I wasn't an active person, I can just get up out of bed, brush my teeth, and go back and sit down and be at my desk all day long. Or if I was someone that just got up, walked over to the left a couple of paces, and just sat down, your body's not really getting the necessary movement that it needs. How do you think all of that impacted you to become the type of person that you wanted to be as you started to realize, I don't want to be that type of guy anymore?
Right. And given that I already lived healthy in my intake of food, it really wasn't that difficult to say, okay, I need to be more active, especially when the activity was my career. I'm not going to get a whole lot of clients if I sit in the chair and kind of rub them with the back of my foot. I got to be up, moving, active, and around. I know you weren't going here, but the beginning of that was when I turned 50. I really changed things actively wise, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take a bike ride. 1,700 miles later, I was a different person as it relates to my health and whatnot. It was a 7-week journey that is a journey all of its own. But then we take that guy and that new me, and we start to head towards massage for, once again, my wife, not me. I had no interest in massage. Do you have any questions before we go further from that?
I do. If you didn't have an interest in it, what sparked or created that interest?
Great question. So we found a massage school in Hermosa, South Dakota that that taught massage, and it was part of our church. And so we called them up and we decided we would come out and become part of their program. The science teacher, when we got on campus, this would be for my wife, not me, though they had made an offer that was incredible, and so I might as well take the class too, but I still have no interest. And he comes up to me and he says, "No, I'm concerned about your wife." And I said, "Why are you concerned about my wife?" "Well, she has dyslexia." And she does have dyslexia. "I'm not certain she can pass my tests or my class." And so I turned to him at that point and I said, "You are correct. She has dyslexia, but she's also got a purpose. She's also got a passion. She's also got a pursuit. If there's one person you will not have trouble with in your class, it would be my wife." Now, I had never been to his class yet. I continued and I said, "But you do absolutely have a problem in your class." And he said, "I do?" I said, "Absolutely, 100%. I guarantee you have a problem in your class." I said, "Well, what's my problem?" I said, "Well, you're looking at it. Because unlike my wife's purpose and passion and pursuit, I have none of that. I am not remotely interested in the hard sciences. I'm a communication degree person. I'm a psychology degree person. I'm soft sciences, not hard sciences. So when it comes to kinesiology, pathology, physiology, no thank youology. But you're going to help me pass your tests and your class. And I just want to give you a good job for what you're about to do, and good luck."
Did you think at that moment he was going to turn to you and say, you know what, we got to get this person out of here? They're probably going to be a little bit more work than I need at that point. Or was it something along the lines saying that I'm going to be completely honest? I want you to push me maybe in a way that I haven't been pushed before, because as you mentioned, you're the soft sciences, not the hard sciences. So what did you learn from that experience?
I was never to pass the class. They had already decided I would not pass. There was two of us in that class. One of us didn't make it through. I was the other one. They had already talked to the other teachers. I learned this from one of the teachers. But I was never to have passed that class, their course. And I did. The conversation was pretty much over at that point. But as we went into anatomy, I fell in love. I'm already in love with my wife, but that's not what I'm talking about. I fell in love with the human body because I did not realize how intricately we were designed. And just to really get in and understand the full dynamics of that, I began to get one regret. And that regret was that I hadn't done this when I was 19 instead of above 50. I absolutely became ultra fascinated in a subject that I thought I had no interest in. I had no interest in it. And that's where a real pivot point for me was. It was in transition. I had gone over to marketing, and I tell you what, watching rankings grow on Google and knowing that you're helping business that way and everything, it's cool. But it doesn't hold a candle to being able to work with people and help them get out of pain and into a better place in life. nothing that I've ever done holds a candle to that.
It kind of reminds me of my childhood, the way you described it, and I'll give you an example why. I was in a situation where I felt that I couldn't help myself because of the age that I was when I was going through what I was going through, not being raised by my mother and my father. And as I got older, I want to make sure that no one experience what I experienced if I can help it. And I was able to help as many people if I can do so. And you made a good point where you fell in love with helping those feel pain free. Do you feel that there's any correlation between your strong desire to help people remove the pain and some of the pain that you went through as you're trying to remove that at that age?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would definitely, as you probably have gained from some of what I've said, I am definitely a follower of Christ. And within that process, I know that he will bring things into my life that will help me become a better me. He's done it all my life. And when he taught me more about the creative power of the body, my eyes were open in such ways, and I could look back and I could see, all right, I wasn't really ready for that back then. And that's probably one of the reasons this didn't come till age 50. But I had to go through some of my own processes of understanding myself first. But just with the pornography part, that is such an impactful part, especially when I first got started, and still is now, knowing that I could have taken the deep dive into self gratification. And instead, I've taken the deep dive into helping others in the exact same topic, because they're naked. So were the pictures in the magazine. Now, I will say they are also professionally covered, but they are in a very vulnerable position. If I wanted to, what could I do given that they're laying naked on my table? I don't want to. But if I did, there's fellow massage therapists, male and female, who get in trouble all the time because they kind of head in the wrong direction of what they want instead of what their client needs.
That is a good point. I know here in Canada, there's been a few times where people have brought allegations. I'll say that because it hasn't been proven at the moment of some misconduct
Mhm.
when it comes to it. And I think what people have to understand is that this isn't something that's isolated to massage therapists or masseuse in general. Anytime you put yourself in a vulnerable situation at the doctor, right, at a therapist, maybe like a physical therapist, massage therapist, as you mentioned, um, when you put yourself in when you're in a vulnerable situation, or worse yet, when you're in a situation where someone has a level of authority over you, you can be susceptible to certain things going wrong. It takes a truly dedicated and moral person to say, I'm not going to do this because I need to make sure the need of those that I'm presiding over trumps whatever it is that I may be thinking or want to do or anything of that nature. And as you mentioned that, how important religion is, there's a time in my life where I grew up going to the church as kids, like many people did, especially from those whose parents are immigrants, where religion and culture is so strong. And I remember when we stopped going to the church, it's probably by in my late teens that I was speaking to someone about it, and they said, "Hey, Trim, why don't you come to the church to learn a little bit more?" And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not ready." That happened a few times, and there was one time where someone came to me, we started talking, and we were just having a beautiful conversation. It was what I needed at that point in my life. And I'm telling you, guy, it seemed like time stopped because I totally lost track of time. And it put me on the path to where I am now because it allowed me to grow within the church, do public speaking, do Bible readings, all these benefits, all these successes were happening to me. And I look at the person I am today and wonder if I wasn't put in a situation to be that person, would I be that person? Meaning, how strong and how important was it to me? And it was very strong, it was very important. So for you, how important was your faith at that point in your life for you to become who you are today, even though it is after an age that is 50, but you mentioned 19. It's a little bit later in life, but it's still impactful. So how impactful is it to you?
It would be very impactful. In fact, um, just to touch on some things, I have been a pastor of a mainline church. I have been a child evangelist with my wife, who was a child evangelist for over 20 years with a focus on ventriloquism. And I am a ventriloquist trained by her in her latter days of her life. When she went to sleep in April 3rd, 2003, it shook my world. I have, if it wasn't that I had a faith walk all the way along, you and I probably wouldn't be having this conversation, because I would not, you typically can't talk to dead people. And that whole process of whatnot, and in fact, I've gone through a major revolution in my walk with Christ too. So the person I was back at 19, within my whole understanding, is nothing like who I am now. Nothing. We bring that forward into the massage room. I think you hit on a very good point, and that is, the whole moral situation. I'd love to tell you that 100%, I've never been tempted. I can't. I cannot tell you that. In fact, there's been twice where I got physically aroused by who was on my table. I can't tell you that that thought wasn't there. What I can tell you is I had to 100% say, no, that's not acceptable. I will not do that. And I had to choose, even in a point of arousal, that I would not go any further with this particular individual twice. And that, I could have made a different choice. There was one time, I'm just to show the moral code, because there is absolutely a moral code in my massage. When we first got started, I did chair massage at the local market. There was one person there that definitely was over, let's just say they were making it clear that they had more than just massage on mind. And in fact, after the chair massage, she invited me to come to her motel. Great opportunity, just a one night stand situation, it happens all the time. You just have some fun. I had a choice to make. And my choice was, if you want me to come to your motel and give you a full massage, my wife's coming with me. And she originally said okay, but then she realized, no, that's not going to work out. That's not what I had in mind. And originally she said, your wife is coming with you? I said, yeah, that's what's going to happen if I'm in that atmosphere. I'll still give you a massage, but my wife's going to be there.
That's a good point to share. And I appreciate your honesty because there's times where these types of conversations and they don't necessarily happen because there's a level of honesty that many of us can't reach. We say that, hey, this does happen. Like, even at my job, things like that happen. Even within this interview and podcasting world, there's many interviews that I watch where the people would even say that, hey, we do sometimes expect some type of intimacy with the people that we guess. Now, these are larger and more successful financially, anyways, creators than myself. So it seems like there's like an unwritten rule when it comes to casual sex across the board. It doesn't matter the industry. And for you to have that moral compass, how do you continue to strengthen that day by day, month by month, and year by year?
One way, the biggest way I would say is the amount of study that I do on a daily basis in the Word of God. A lot of people say, well, I can't find time to study the Word of God. I can't find time not to study the Word of God. On a daily basis, I would say focused study, I'm definitely in that 2 to 3 hours, but I sleep with the Bible on. So I'm listening to the Bible all night long. So my daily time in the Word of God is at least 10 hours. And that helps me build my foundation and whatnot. Well, you're asleep. You don't hear anything when you're asleep. Go take a look at the test. You get the conscious mind out of the way, you are going directly into the subconscious. It is the best way to study anything and learn anything is to get the conscious mind out and put it directly into the subconscious.
That's a part that is missing for a lot of people. They think just because they're not actively listening to it, meaning that they're not consciously awake, they're not retaining. But even when you're going into your sleep routine, and some people have like the nature sounds, you can recall it, even though
Mhm.
you may not be wide awake. And I used to do that quite a bit, where I used to play soothing sounds. I didn't play the Bible, even though it's very important in my life, and that's something that I'm going to take away from this conversation. It plays a significant part in our learning. And for those who know religion pretty well, one of the biggest things that is always taught, I think this is consistent, at least in the few religions that I've researched, is that you need to surround yourself with it, right? It has to be around you all the time. For those who are Christians, you know that it'll tell you to have um the the armor around you, right?
Mhm.
From your goings to your swords.
Ephesians 5 and 6, yes.
Absolutely. So it's from the breastplate to the belt to the helmet to the sword to everything, right? And Guy, you've overcome a lot and you've been through many things that maybe some of us haven't gone through. As you continue to become more successful, as you continue to go to where you are, where do you see yourself next on your journey?
So very next, we are in the process because we do massage. In order to answer that, I've got to add something to what I've already told you. Typically, there's Swedish massage and deep tissue massage. Typically, there's a lot of people that say, I don't want deep tissue massage because it hurts. Well, we've reinvented the entire massage world, and we have what's called muscle therapy deep tissue massage. Our clients, when they come forward and they leave reviews, and we've been in practice for 5 years with almost 500 5-star reviews on Google, that's really something saying. But they typically say, I can't believe that I can get out of pain without it being a pain. So we have a totally different way of making sure you get what you need. without it being so hard that you're going to be hurting for the next 3 or 4 days. And what we're doing, what we're are actually actively presently doing is we're building a course where we're going to teach people how to do, and this is just lay people working from their own home, helping their loved one and whatnot, teach them how to do what it is that we do so that they can be able, no matter where they are in the world, Canada, United States, Kenya, UK, whatever the case, they can be able to utilize the skills that we have brought forward and affect a positive change in the people that they know, love, and care about. But if people get the course here in Rapid City, well, then they won't come to us. I would highly disagree. You see, when you know that you are in expert authority hands because they have shown you and trained you, where are you likely to go? You're going to go to those experts if they're in your area, and they're going to have that much more value, that much more credibility, that much more value to you, that you're going to say, yeah, they're right here, I'm going there.
And any final words for those who are struggling to overcome something in their life and they want to relieve the pain by maybe helping others to relieve theirs as well?
I'm going to answer that a little bit differently. It was room number 7 on Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a white room that had a table in it. The table had a couple of cushions on it, which really wasn't a table at all because the cushions were holding a body. The body that it was holding, on those cushions, on the table, which was actually a bed, was in a hospital. That hospital was holding the body of my wife as she slipped from consciousness. She died on April 3rd, 2003. My world, as I mentioned earlier, was broken. I went home that day and I fell on my knees. And I said, God, I don't like you right now. And lots of people leave it right there. I don't like you. You messed me up. I'm not going to, I'm done with you. Well, that wasn't what I did. I said, but I need you. Help me. And he did. It wasn't an easy road. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about body maintenance and helping people in this way, or whatever life event that you're talking about. If you rely on the source from which life flows, you can get to a deeper and deeper position in your own life of total, true freedom and liberty that can so impact your life. You have to choose, though. I know there's a lot of people out there, especially today, that say, well, we're done with that. I don't want that anymore. And that's their choice. The consequences are the same. But if you choose to follow the passion of the Christ, shall we say, you will benefit in the long run. You will find a better tomorrow, even through the chaos and the pain. That's what I would say.